Alright, hello and welcome back to the Curse of Blackmoor Manor. Now we're going to do a few things in this video in relatively rapid succession, with the primary goal first of acquiring the last key to the pillars, but in doing so we are going to end up activating the well, which is something we have to do to light the forge anyway, because we need... Am I going the right way? Hopefully. Let's find out. We need all 4 elements represented in order to utilize the well. Alright. But also, after we get that done, we are also going to actually light the forge and set ourselves up essentially for the end game. So in order to do so, we're going to quickly head back to the forge itself just to take a look at something that I'm fairly certain I didn't actually read before. So we look at this kind of main book that has most of the key points to unlocking the pillars, and we can take a closer look here and see on this little map there's this peephole that we looked into Linda's room from, and then down here we have the peephole that showed us the Rod of Mercury, and that had the chimes that we used to unlock it. And then finally, on this lowest level, just before the labyrinth, is the lock to the well. So let's head back there, and we will... There we go. Essentially activate the well, I guess you could say, in order to turn on the water. That will let us use the forge and will unlock the final key. So let's get out here, and then it should be just to the left here. Come this way, and I think we should be able to open this door first. It's kind of the opposite of all the other doors. Yeah. So if we come in here,
at the bottom of some kind of well.
And I think, yeah, there's a note here. My dear little Jane, just a quick note. Enclosed is what you requested. I hope it will help your guinea pig. It certainly helped me. All the best, Uncle Roger. What was down here, I don't know. But I guess that's how Jane found out about these secret passageways. Alright, so now we need to fill up the well.
This reminds me of that picture I saw in the Mutus Liber. I'm supposed to press the button under the blue triangles I want to move, then press the one under the group I want to move them to, until I wind up with a group of just 4 triangles.
That was remarkably intuitive of Nancy to be able to figure that out. Goodness, I have to actually remember how to do this. Because I would say that the Mutus Liber wasn't all that clear. It's actually a relatively easy puzzle, I suppose. We want to get 2 over here, and then, well, ultimately we want to get 2 in this one, so that we can put 5 in here and take one of these away. We are going to be looking at the Mutus Liber in a second. Well, a few seconds. And now...
If I open the door now, I'll flood the place.
Yep, so the well is filled. But yeah, we'll be looking at the Mutus Liber a little later, so we'll be able to check out exactly what Nancy's referencing. But first, let's get out of here. We won't have to do this walk too many more times. I think just once, actually. There we go. And out here. We're going to quickly run into Nancy's room, which I would argue you don't necessarily have to do, but I think it adds a little bit. I'm going to make it 2 or 3 in the afternoon, just for something we're going to want to do later. When we go to Jane's room, need it to be after her lessons and not in the middle of the night. But the primary reason we came in here was to take a look at this book, which is going to be a portion of what guides us through acquiring this final key to the pillar. So this is Granny and the Water Fairy by John Penvellyn. In a faraway place, beside a pond since gone dry, there lived a frog named Granny. Granny was content to live by himself and never ventured into the pond, for back then it was a fearsome place full of crocodiles that lurked beneath the surface, just waiting for a tasty little morsel like Granny to swim by. But one day a beautiful princess appeared on the other side of the pond. Like Granny, she was by herself, for she had been unfairly banished from her father's kingdom. Sometimes at night, Granny could hear her singing sad songs and talking to herself out of loneliness. He longed to swim across the pond so they could keep each other company, but he knew the crocodiles would eat him if he tried. So he sat on the shore, croaking mournfully in the moonlight all alone. Then one day, a kind-hearted water fairy appeared in the mist above the swamp that surrounded the pond and told Granny that she would help him cross the pond so that he and the princess could be together. How? Granny asked. I cannot swim across, for the crocodiles are fast and fierce, and have eaten many friends and relatives more friends and relatives than I dare to count. You will not have to swim, the water fairy replied, for I shall make a path for you. And don't forget, crocodiles tend to hide in the middle of the pond and near trees, and they hate boats. So that's the only real useful piece of information to get there. With that, a lily pad suddenly appeared in the pond in front of Granny. Although he was still afraid, he summoned the courage and hopped onto it. Then another lily pad appeared, and after that another, then another. Granny leapt from one to the next, his tiny heart pounding in his chest, until at long last he leapt from the last lily pad onto the dock where the princess sat. She was delighted to see the little frog, and when she realized that Granny had made the perilous journey across the pond just to be with her, she smiled for the first time since her banishment. So grateful was she for Granny's company that she gave the water fairy a gift, a bright red key, which the fairy soon put to use. And the three lived happily ever after. Very nice. Proud of you, John Penvellyn. So, we're going to head to the conservatory.
Please, just take it away.
But how can you expect to feel better if you don't eat properly?
And from now on, just bring me what I ask for.
A healthy digestive system cannot do without roughage, you know.
Yes, Mrs. Drake.
Ah.
Nancy doing a little spy work. Let's see what that was.
Looks like some sort of charm.
Oh, it appears Mrs. Drake is trying to, ward off evil or something. Let's see if she's down here. I don't know if she says anything about it. We'll find out. Because we want to go here anyway. Otherwise, I'm not sure I'd bother to make the trip. I don't remember our last conversation with her being overly interesting. The water is restored.
Have you seen? The well is filled up again. It's very curious, but quite wonderful.
You're welcome.
Why did you put that charm above Linda's door?
What? I fail to see why that is any of your concern. But if you must know, I was only trying to help Linda. Oh, I am at a loss as to what to do about her. A complete loss. Sometimes extraordinary situations require extraordinary measures. I thought that perhaps a charm would help. Whatever it is that's plaguing that poor thing.
It's nice
Goodbye.
to run along.
See that at least someone seems to be on her side. Alright, so let's do this here, which is a somewhat annoying little puzzle because you have better chances of succeeding along the wall and away from the trees, but ultimately it is kind of a random chance.
Children's book John Penvellyn wrote.
You have an infinite number of tries. I generally find the most successful is just to go along the top, but you will often get caught here. However, there's no way to avoid both the trees and the center. I'm honestly just going to keep trying the same exact thing, and hopefully it should work soon. Yeah. Oh, come on. That's rude. I think that's the first time I've ever gotten caught once getting past the tree. Usually if you get past there, you're fine. But yeah, it's just not enough of an actual puzzle to make the effort of doing this worthwhile. And you can come here, and there you go. We did it. And we shall receive the final key. Well, not the final key, but we'll talk about that more next time. Alright, so let's turn around here. And we're going to go take another look at the Mutus Liber in Jane's room, although not actually our last look. That will come next time. It's not truly necessary, but we'll do it just for the sake of completeness. Although I'd argue that the Mutus Liber is inaccurate, which we'll come to in a minute. So we can look through here. Much of this we've already dealt with. These are the 6 pillars. This page doesn't really matter. So these are the 6 pillars. So you have the Jupiter pillar here. This is the moon pillar. And this is referencing the Earth, which I guess is the liquid Earth. Now, when I read this, it's telling me that we need to go from the moon pillar down towards the forge, and that the Earth starts up here and flows into the Zeus pillar. But ultimately, when we arrange the pipes inside these pillars, we really do the opposite, which is kind of annoying, but that's fine. This is the water puzzle that we just did, where we had to take the 5, 8, and 3 cups of water and ultimately get 4. This is just referencing the Earth game that we had, or the Wind game that we had to play. And then this is the other piece that we're going to do that is also spoken about in the text down in the forge, where we have to tame first the head gargoyle and then the subservient gargoyles in order to light the forge. And this we'll come back to later. Okay, let's get out of here. Get away from her creepy humming. So, we're going to put all of the keys in their respective pillars. You can start with the arrow, Venus/Cupid's arrow. So what you need to do is have them pointed towards the center of the room and down for the ones on the corners. Oops. There we go. For the moon pillar, you need this piece to be facing up, although again, I would argue that the Mutus Liber indicates it should be pointing, if anything, down, or really should even be shaped completely different, but that's fine. All right, where is Mercury? There you are. Down and towards the center. The time piece. Down and towards the center. Oops. All right, we can do the night next. Down and towards the center. And finally, last but not least, Jupiter's bolt. And this needs to be pointed down.
Sounds like I did something right.
You can hear that rushing of fluid. And then finally, we will end this video by lighting the forge. This is a little bit annoying. You have to be very, much quicker than you would really think. You have to be pretty specific about where you touch. You have to be up above their ears, otherwise it won't register.
Okay, let's try this again.
And head down here.
Time has come.
Up
This
above the
wand
ears.
probably works through magnets. Pay no attention to the bird.
Down this way to the 3rd gargoyle. And then just back up twice down here.
Whoa, something tells me I just succeeded in lighting the forge.
I think you're right. Alright, so that will do it for now. When we come back, we will have our final episode where we will forge the key to the ultimate Penvellyn vault down in the forge itself, and we will see what the Penvellyn treasure is and maybe get to the bottom of this mystery. But till then, see ya.